Yeah, well, there you go, friends. Doc South. And uh, again, I've lived basically in Northwest New Jersey most of my life. I was also, for a while down in the Carolinas and out in Pennsylvania for a bit. But generally, quite often I find myself back in Chester, living the life. And uh, I just thought of something, an interesting, uh, an interesting story. I've always liked hiking in the woods and like that. Not much for hunting, but walking around in the woods, digging the animals, looking at the streams, taking pictures. Yeah, it's kind of neat. And I've lived again a better part of my life. I lived in Chester, New Jersey, and Chester is blessed with a very nice park, Hacklebarney Park. Um, it's a bit west of town. Uh, Very nice. Not the biggest park ever, but it's got a lot of pathways and trails where you can walk through the woods and up and down hills and climb over rocks and stuff. And I don't know, I had an antique shop a number of years ago. Oh, 30, 40 years ago at least. Um, and was married to a young lady named Molly. We had an antique shop on Main Street in Chester, and on occasion we'd close the shop and find something to do. And one thing we used to like to do was head on down to Hacklebarney Park and walk around. It's one of those parks. It's kind of not that far away, and gee, it was like you were in the mountains. It was great. And I remember we were walking around, and one day, I don't know, maybe with some friends, and up and down the trails. And we come around one of the bends, and there's a work crew. Um, no, not a chain gang or anything. No, it was the rangers and stuff. Were the park uh, workers were putting something together. They were maybe trimming some trees, or maybe a tree fell. They're cutting it up, whatever. And I remember walking past the uh, the work site, and a beautiful young lady caught my eye. I remember, I said, "Whoa, look at her! Isn't she pretty? God, love a duck." And I didn't think much else. Just there, whoa, pretty. And and it kept on walking. Um, I think even Molly looked over and said, "Gee, she is pretty. It's a nice looking girl." And hmm, and again, we kept walking. I don't know. We're looking, trying to get to the hot dog stand or whatever, if it was even open, and or maybe it was time to go. And that was that. And it's funny, but later in life, guess who that girl was? Sandy. Yeah, we. I think Sandy. I think when I had my second antique shop in Chester put together, I had been divorced from uh, Molly, my first wife, and I had a shop that was my own. And I remember Sandy came strutting in one day looking for antiques, and I said, looked at her. I said, "Boy, you're the girl from the park." She says, "Well, yeah." She said, "I work there." So well, I'll be well. Okay, well, come on in, and look around. Little did I know that about a year later we'd be that girl from the park would be my wife, and it's been so for all these years, decades now. Pretty cool. It's funny how paths cross and intermingle, isn't it? Neat. Anyway, um, I'm glad Sandy walked into my shop. That's for sure. And boy, you talk about being into antiques. That's Sandy. Oh my gosh, does she love working around those items that we find? She's really really good at it. Anyway, I just thought I'd say it was. I don't know. It's funny how you can cross paths with people through life, and eventually, bang, you, you hit it off. Nice, nice. It's a good world after all. Enjoy. I'll see you later. Bye now. I got to get to work.